Alright guys, so we're still discussing non-standard units of measure. So we're still going through all of those. So remember, a non-standard unit of measure is things that we don't normally measure with. So normally we measure in inches and centimeters and pounds and all of those things. In non-standard units of measure, we are using crayons and cubes and paper clips. And we learned yesterday that number one, we have to make sure that whatever we're using, whether it be crayons, that they're all the same length, that there are no gaps between them when we're measuring. So we can't have spaces like we saw with the pencil. We also have to make sure that they're the same size and that we start at the beginning and at the end. So let's look at a few examples. So there's a really cool video that I'm going to link down at the bottom for you to watch that just kind of goes over more about non-standard units of measure. So we can use the words longer than to help us describe our different objects. So if you look here, we have pencil A and pencil B. Well, object A is longer than object B. It's used to describe an object that covers more distance. So if you're longer than somebody, you're just covering more distance, okay? So just like if you were taller than somebody, you are higher up than somebody else, like you're taller than them. You are taking up, you cover more distance, okay? We are going to look at some examples of that. So we're going to look at each problem and we're going to fill in the blank to make each statement true. So we have a crayon and a pencil. So who is longer? Right, the crayon. So if I was to fill in my blank, it would say the crayon is longer than the pencil. Let's look at our ticket and our caterpillar. Well, who's longer? The caterpillar. So we would say the caterpillar is longer than the ticket. We then have cheese and mouse. Well, who's longer? The mouse. So the mouse is longer than the cheese. We have a bird and a ladybug. Well, who's longer? The bird. So the bird is longer than the ladybug. We have a lollipop and a balloon. Well, who's taller? You're right, the lollipop. The lollipop is longer than the balloon. We then have a ball and a castle. Well, who's taller? The castle. The castle is longer than the ball. So just another way to help us describe. We can also use the term shorter than. So if you look at pencil A and pencil B, object B is shorter than object A. It's used to describe an object that covers less distance. Okay, so if you're shorter, you're not covering as much distance. So I'm the shorter one in the family, so I don't cover much distance because I'm so short. Let's look at some examples of that the same way that we did with longer than. So we're going to fill in the blanks and we're going to circle who is shorter than. So if we have the crayon and the pencil, who's shorter? The pencil. So we would say the pencil is shorter than the crayon. You have a ticket and a caterpillar. Who's shorter? You're right, the caterpillar. So let me make a few more so that we don't run out. I'm so sorry. I should have done this before. So the ticket is shorter. So the ticket is shorter than the caterpillar. Cheese or mouse? You're right, the cheese. The cheese is shorter than the mouse. Bird or ladybug? Ladybug. The ladybug is shorter than the bird. Lollipop or balloon? Balloon. The balloon is shorter than the lollipop. Ball or castle? Ball. The ball is shorter than the castle. So these are just other ways for us to describe the length of something, the distance that they're taking up. And so you guys are going to be practicing the same way in your Schoology assignment. So let's get started.